This week, I am in the throes of this winter that just won't end. My kids had another 2 snow days this week, plus a 2 hour delay, and the President's Day holiday, which means today was the first and only day that they went to school for the entire day. It is making me a little crazy. When we moved here, they told me winters aren't so bad in Kansas, and we hardly get snow, maybe a dusting here or there and a couple inches once, but not even every year. P.S. They lied. We have gotten so much snow and had so many snow days, and this winter has just really, really tried me. I miss Florida. um, and all I want as I'm going through this is to just get back to our regular routine, just get back to ordinary time, which got me thinking about the word ordinary and what the church says is ordinary and what the world says is ordinary. And according to the world, ordinary is just boring and mundane and not exciting and really kind of considered a negative thing. If you talk about something being ordinary, it's kind of frowned upon. I love the insult that basic, right? Just being basic means you're not interesting and you're not exciting enough. And this is how the world tells us the word ordinary should be interpreted. But the church has this beautiful, completely different interpretation of it. So one of the best ways I can explain it to you is if you sign up and volunteer to become a Eucharistic minister, your title is actually Extraordinary Eucharistic Minister. And the reason for this is because the ordinary Eucharistic ministers are the priests and deacon. And if you think about that for a second, there is nothing ordinary about a priest. There is nothing ordinary about a man who completely gives his life to Christ in this way, who gives up his possessions and opportunities for financial wealth, his opportunity for marriage and biological fatherhood. He gives up his freedom because he makes a vow of obedience that he will go and do whatever his superior says. And he has sacrificed his entire life to just serve God. There is nothing ordinary about that at all. And yet the world wants to tell us that ordinary is bad and ordinary is not exciting enough. But every day in the ordinary way, that priest will stand behind the altar and extend his hands over the bread and wine. He'll recite the prayers of the consecration, and through the power of the Holy Spirit, that ordinary bread and wine becomes the body and blood of Christ that he then distributes to us, his flock, the parishioners, and we get to partake in the most holy Eucharist. And again, this is ordinary. This is what ordinary means. Just the everyday experiences that, you could perceive as mundane or boring. And people do. Some people go to church and get bored. But I think if you really know what is happening when you're there, there is no chance for boredom. We are witnessing and experiencing and tasting a miracle that happens every single time. And it is so, so, so profound. And yet it's ordinary. It's ordinary because it happens every day. And so when we go through our lives, when we are in a season of ordinary time, like we are now, quick note though, I don't know if you're tracking, but we're less than 2 weeks away from Lent. So ordinary time will be coming to a pause here on Wednesday, March the 5th. So if you haven't started thinking and praying about how you will be celebrating and fully entering into that season, now is the time to start. But right now, we're still in ordinary time. And so when we live our ordinary lives, there is something remarkable that is happening. Just like the consecration and just like what happens at every single Mass, this happens in the ordinary experiences of our life. So when we sit on the couch with our kids and just watch a movie with our phones off and we're just present with them, it may seem so ordinary, but that is profound and impactful. And when we just put another meal on the table with with vegetables and we are encouraging our kids to be healthy, and we're feeding them and nourishing them. Sure, that's ordinary. And when we love our spouse and forgive them even when they've done something that might seem unforgivable, or we feel so hurt and we still choose to forgive, like that's kind of ordinary. The love that happens behind closed doors in families, but even the love that happens out in the world when we put on a brake and like wave in someone into traffic because it just doesn't matter if we're one car ahead of them. Like that's pretty darn ordinary. And when we smile at a stranger or give $5 to somebody on the street, like all of these little tiny things, the world tells us they're not exciting enough. They're not, picture worthy, and they definitely will not become viral. Like this is not the stuff of excitement and flashy glamour, but this is the stuff of saints. This is how we become the saints that God created us to be, through these average, ordinary, simple, sometimes very easily overlooked things that we are called to do all day, every day. And so I hope this week you can go out and embrace the ordinary, especially if you're not dealing with snow days and all the other craziness that we've got in some of our colder states, and go find ways to be extraordinarily holy through the most ordinary things you could imagine doing. That's all I have for you today. I'm Maria Riley, just a sinner in the throes of trying to be a saint.